Daf Yud Het Amud Aleph by the Gemara. Mishnah mentioned that the reason why we don't give it back we don't give back a get, for example, back to the person if you found it, is because maybe the person decided not to give the get, and therefore you're returning a get that's not live. The Gemara therefore makes like diuk. The reason why the Mishnah said you don't give it back is because maybe after the guy made it, he decided not to give it. But let's say the husband said, you know what, give it to her. Give her the get. We would give it, even if it was lost for a while. That's what it sounds like. Now that's a problem. The meaning of istira. If you get if someone's shliach brought a get, delivered to the guy's wife, and he lost it. If he finds it right away, it's kasher. Imlav pasul. But if he didn't find it right away, it's pasul because we're choshesh that the get he found did not belong to the original Reuven ben Shimon from New York, but he found the same name with the same wife in the same city, and therefore he has the wrong get. Where it says not a stira. Right, so that's a problem because our Mishnah says that you could always return it. Sounds like without that stipulation. So the Gemara says not a question. No. Khan in our Mishnah that you can in that Mishnah where you said you can return it if it was lost for you can't return it if it was lost for a long time. That's referring to a case where the get was found where there are a lot of caravans and traveling. People are traveling in and out. Khan in our Mishnah, the reason why you can return it is referring to a get where there's not a lot of people passing by, and therefore there's low chance that you found a get with the same information. And now on top of that, we're going to make a second stipulation. Even if the get was found where there's places that there are a lot of people, caravans are common. Only if there are two people with the same name in that city. Because if you don't say that there has to be that second condition also, Kasha Rabba, we have a stira on Rabban himself. How? There's a get that was found in Rav Huna's bedin. They have a katuv by the written on it. B'shviri matata al rachis nahara. In Shviri by the river Rachis. So the shliach had brought it to deliver it, and then he found it, and he said he lost his get. Rav Huna says, maybe there's two shviris, and therefore this get can belong to someone else. He had told Rabba, go check it out. Because the Ravuna didn't ask about it tonight. And he found a Mishnah. Someone finds anything from the Bedin, he has to return it. So that sounds like that you don't have to worry about someone else with the same name. And why is that a problem? Because Rav Huna's Betin is that's considered a place where there's a lot of travelers because people come to Betin. The Kapashit Rabbi Yasin, he said to give it back. Alma, therefore, we must see that there has to be two conditions, two stipulations. One, common travelers, and only if there's two people with the same name in that city, then you don't give it back. But if it's not, then you don't need to worry about it. How about Rabbi had a story also about who there was a get found in the flax house of Pumbadita, Kishmaate, with the same situation. Some say it was found in a place where flax was sold, and it was returned because no other people with the same name was found. Even though it was a common place for people to travel. Some say it was a different location where the flax was being sold. Even though people with the second same names were found, but the other condition wasn't fulfilled. There weren't a lot of caravans there weren't a lot of people traveling there. Rabbi Zera has a stira from the Mishnah from the following Braita. He answered it. Tanan, Mishnah. The guy shliach brought a get and he lost it. He finds it immediately is kasher. But if he did not find it away, pasul. The meaning of the stira, matzah get because someone found a get in the marketplace. Bisman sheba'al modeh, if the husband admits that he gave it to his wife, yachsid lisha, he gave it back to her. In the ba'al modeh, the husband says, I did not divorce her. Lo yachsid lo zev, you don't give it at all. Now, we see, however, Bisman sheba'al modeh, when the husband does admit, yachsid lisha, ba'afil zman merubah, you give it back to her, even if it were to be a long time. This is a stira against our Mishnah. If it's a long time, you don't return it. Gemara says, Mishani, he answered it, in the Mishnah, it's referring to the case where there's a lot of people traveling. Therefore, you can only return it if it was found right away. The Braita, not a lot of people are traveling, and therefore, even if a lot of time passes, you can return it because you're not choshesh. Ikdam, a different explanation. That's referring to a case where there was no second couple with the same names were found in that location. Behind the Rabban, it's the same identical view to Rabban, like we said before. Ikdam, another explanation. That holds Lon Hadar, even if the other couples was not found, we don't return it even when there's because the caravans are passing by. Yani the other condition. He holds against Rabba, who needed both conditions met, and over here only one. Okay. I understand why Rabba did not ask the question from the Mishnah and Braita like Rabbi did, because he had a steer of two Mishnahs. Two Mishnahs is a bigger question than a Braita to a Mishnah. Right? Mishnah is more accurate and more legit. Rabbi Zera, my but how come Rabbi Zera brought a question from the Braita when he had two Mishnahs against each other? Right? Why would you bring the secondary quote unquote source against the Mishnah versus the Mishnah against the Mishnah like Rabbi? Rabbi Zera will tell you, our Mishnah did not specifically say give it to her if he says give it to her. Even after a long time. No, we made that diuk about that, like in the beginning of the Knesset. Maybe the Mishnah meant to say that if he says give it to her, you give it to her. Only only if it was found right away. Right? So our Mishnah says only that if you find the get, you should not return it to her, because maybe he lost it before he gave it. Now, we made a diuk that means even after a long time. But he says not necessarily. Since our Mishnah never said the timing, maybe our Mishnah would agree that you only give it back if the husband said give it back if it was found right away. But according to the opinion, Rabbi Zera holds it's only in a place where there's common caravans, even though there's no two people same established there. Rabbi argues against Rabbi. What's the machloket according to him? Or what's the basis of the machloket? Rabbi holds the Mishnah said any part of Bedin, you give it back. It's referring to the case where the document was found in Bedin. And therefore Betin is also considered a common place where caravans go because people literally come to Betin for litigation. But when there's two people with the same name, you don't give it back. The people, if you don't have two people with the same name, you give it back even though it's common. The Rabbi Zera says, no, I don't like that. Did the Mishnah specifically say why'd you establish the case as it has to be in Betin? Mishnah doesn't say that any thing from Betin in Betin that was found. No. Anything from Betin you return. It's referring to we found it outside in the street without common caravans. Okay, but if it was common caravans, you can't return it. Rabbi explains everything differently. It's referring to the case where the Edim had signed it and told us the reason why you can return it because the Edim themselves who signed that get said, we only signed one get like this. So you can't say that, oh, maybe it belongs to someone else, the same thing. No, this is our names. We signed this get, and we never had another get with the same names. What's the hidush? If that's so obvious. The Gemara says, you might think, do you have to take it one step further? The names of the people, the husband, the wife, the city are all the same, and the edim are the same, and maybe it belongs to a different get. Maybe you have to be a choshesh, and therefore you shouldn't return it because maybe it's a different get. Mashman, no, we don't choshesh that far. Ravashi says, Kigon deka amar, the shliach is saying, nekev yesh bo betzad ot plonit. You return it when the shliach knows a siman, but not just a siman, a solid siman. He says there's a hole by a certain letter next to this in a certain word. And Ravashi says that only works if he gives that solid siman. But if he says, oh, there is a hole on it, it doesn't count. No, because that's not good enough proof. Because Ravashi wasn't sure. Simanim because Ravashi is not sure if the simanim work as Devaratu Devaran, and therefore you can't return it unless you have an excellent siman. Rabbi Bar Hana had a shliach to give a get. He lost the get in the Bet Midrash, and then the rabbis there found it. Amar, he told them, if you want to have a siman, I can give you Idli Bigava. But if you want visual recognition, you know who I am, and therefore you trust me. Like they say now, there's a recognizance, right? You release it on recognizance. Itli begave, I have that also. People know who I am. They know I'm reliable. They returned it to him. Amar, he said the problem is, I don't know why they gave it back. They give it back because I had the siman, because Sarah simanin doraita, and therefore they hold simanin doraita. Or imishum tibaut ina, maybe they returned it because of my recognizance. But the only reason why I returned it to me is because Hacham. But a regular person won't get it back. He's like, I offered both, but I don't know why I got it back. So he didn't answer about the money with the Duraisa Durabanan. Kufa, we said earlier. Masa get Isha Bashuk if he found they get in the street. Bisman Shabbat Modev, the husband admits that he divorces his wife. Yachsid Isha, he gave it back to the wife. In about Modev, the husband does not admit that he divorces his wife. They don't give it at all. The husband admits he give it back to her. Maybe he wrote it in Nisan. He didn't give it back till 6 months later in Tishrei. Meantime, the husband used her milog property, the property that she has in the marriage, and he's using the fruits and the pineapples, etc., which technically belongs to him because they're still married. And then when we give the get, she's given the get that is now divorcing her in Nisan instead of Tishrei. That is technically saying Nisan, even though he gave it in Tishrei. And then she'll be able to take away anything that he sold during the interim of those 6 months, even though they weren't divorced yet. All right, so January written, given in June. We've lost it, gave it back to her. She's divorced in June, and now from January to June, she's now going to go over to the purchasers and say, okay, give everything back. I was divorced from 6 months ago. He had no right to sell it to you. So how can we give it back? Maybe that will be the situation that she can grab money back. Mara says, 1 second. It's not necessarily a problem. Only a problem according to one opinion. It makes sense that you can give it back because once the husband sets his mind to divorce his wife and writes a get, Shuv in Labal Pirot, he has no rights to her property. And therefore, if she comes to rip it away, she has rights, Shapir, because she owns it already between January and June. According to opinion, that he has the rights to it until he actually divorces her. How can you give it back? Maybe she'll be able to steal those 6 months of fruits. Where it says, according to this opinion, is it when the woman comes to take the money from the buyer, he tells her, proof when the get came to your hand. Great. It was written in Tishri. In Nisan, proof that you got divorced in Tishri. Prove to me that your husband sold it illegitimately. 1 second. What would be the difference between a case of the get with the case of a loan? Because why? Tanay Mishnah. If you found a loan document. If you found a lien on property, if there's a lien property on a document, you can't give it back to the creditor. And that we establish that case even when the guy admits. Because why? Maybe he wrote it in Nisan to borrow them. He didn't borrow until 6 months later. And then the guy will be able to steal property that he had sold during those 6 months illegitimately because he hadn't really taken a loan yet. Where it says, maybe that's the case, then also over there we should say, if the creditor should come, name a lay, he should tell him, prove to me when the loan actually happened. Just like we advised the woman to the guy with the woman to do. Maybe we should say something over here. How come we don't say that it's okay to give back by the loan, just like we said it's okay to give by the get, because the guy by the get will ask her to prove when she got divorced. So to over here, say something over there. Mara says, no. Amri, get is different. If she's saying pay me for those 6 months, he's going to say, prove to me. Because Ammar, he'll say to himself, the reason why she got the get back is because she needs the get as a resource to get remarried. And therefore, it's evidence for her divorce, but not necessarily evidence when she got divorced. Now that she wants to take the money from me, prove to me when she got divorced. So over there, we know that the guy will stand up for himself with the man proof. However, regarding a loan document, the guy won't come to collect from him. Because why? Once he saw that Bedin returned the document to the guy, he'll think to himself, Pshita, it must be the document's legit. Because why else did they give back to him? The Metrav, he obviously needed in order to take the lien, the property. It must be that they checked into it and they saw it was legit. And therefore, even the date was okay. And therefore, I can't ask for him to prove anything in order for him not to take my stuff that was sold to me. That's why by a loan, we don't return it because we are afraid for the buyer. But by the get, we know the guy will stand up for himself. Amen.